today's video we're going to review what the slope-intercept form is, as well as putting equations into slope-intercept form. So let's get started. As you can recall, the formula for the slope-intercept form equation is y equals mx plus b. Do you remember what m is? M is our slope, while b is the y-intercept. So make sure that you have this written on your paper and label your slope and your y-intercept. So there's a few steps to put an equation into slope-intercept form, and it's pretty similar to our two-step or multi-step equation, and instead of solving for x, you're essentially solving for y. So the first thing that we need to do is get y by itself by moving the constants away from y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my line. I need to get this 4y on the left side completely by itself. So I need to get rid of anything on, sorry, not the left side, the right side. I need to get rid of anything on the right side that's not a y. So I need to get rid of this 7. Well, it's a positive 7, so the opposite would be a negative 7. So I'm going to subtract negative 7 from both sides. Make sure that you put the 7 underneath the 1 because that's a constant. It's a number without a letter. So on the right side, we're going to cross that out. We're going to bring down the 4y. We didn't do anything to it. Now, what is 1 minus 7? Negative 6. And did we do anything to the 5x? Nope. So we're just going to bring it straight down. Let's look at the next step. So our next step says combine any like terms on either side of the equal sign. So combining all your x's, combining all your y's, combining all your numbers with variables, such as your constants. So let's look. Can we combine anything on the left side? Well, I have a 5x and a negative 6. The negative 6 does not have an x, so I can't combine anything on that side. Let's look on the other side. Nope, looks good to me. So let's check out what the final step is. So our final step is to make sure your equation is in slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b, meaning nothing is attached to y, there's no numbers attached to it, nothing at all. So let's look at our equation. Is there something attached to y? Well, yeah, there's a 4 right next to it. If a number and a letter are touching, it means multiplication. So what's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So what I'm going to do is divide everything on both sides by 4. I need to draw underneath the negative 6 a 4 and underneath the 5 a negative 4. Or sorry, a positive 4. So now these 4's are going to cancel. I'm left with y equals, I have a negative 6 over 4. And then since 5 and 4 can't go into each other, we're just going to leave it as 5 over 4x. But if you look at right here, this negative 6/4, I can reduce that, right? So off to the side, I'm going to go 6 over 4. What is the highest number that they both go into? A 2. They both can go into 2. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by a 2. And I'm going to get 3 over 2. So to put my equation into y equals mx plus b form, I've got my y right here. So I'm going to write y equals mx, so my slope, which is 5 over 4x, minus, because remember this is still negative, so sorry, negative 3 over 2. And there you have it. And you might be questioning, well, it's plus b. It is a plus b. Essentially, remember, if we're dealing with negatives, we have plus negative 3 over 2. which we can just write as 5 over 4x minus 3 over 2. So let's look at some practice problems. Okay, these practice problems say put these equations into slope-intercept form and identify what the slope and the y-intercept are. Once we put it into the slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, it'll be clear to see what the slope and what the y-intercept is. So let's look at our equation. We're going to get y by itself completely. So what I need to do is on the right side it says 5y minus a 5. What I need to do is get rid of that negative 5 by doing what? Adding 5 to both sides. And since this does not have an x or a y, I have to put it underneath the numbers without x's and y's. Just like what we've been doing all this time, except now you're just doing y instead of x. So I didn't do anything to this 25x, so I'm just going to bring it straight down. If I have negative $15 and I gain $5, now I still owe somebody $10. Okay, is it in y equals mx plus b form? Not quite yet. We still have that 5 there. We need y completely alone. So what I'm going to do, since they're right next to each other, which means multiplication, the opposite is going to be division, always and forever. So these y's, or these 5's cancel, and I'm left with y equals. What is a negative divided by a positive? A negative. What is 10 divided by 5? 2. So I have negative 2. And 25 divided by 5 is going to give me what? 5x. So there we go. It is in slope-intercept form. We have our y. We have our mx. And our b. So my slope for this one, which is always attached to the x, is going to be a 5. And my y-intercept is going to be what? Negative 2. Make sure you carry the negative with it. And you will definitely see later once we start graphing why it's important to carry that negative. Let's try the next one. Draw your line. Now we need to get y by itself, and now it's on the left side instead of the right. So, same process again. We're going to subtract 14 from both sides. I encourage you to pause this video and solve this one out and see if you get the right answer, to double check your work, my work, and your knowledge if you understand it. So this is going to give me a negative 30. Last part, get y by itself by dividing by 6 to everything inside. These will cancel. I'm left with y equals 12 divided by 6 is a 2. And don't forget the x to bring down with it. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. 30 divided by 6 is 5. So there is my slope-intercept form, my equation. Now I need to see what my slope is, which is always attached to an x, which is 2. And my y-intercept is a negative 5. I want you to try the next two on your own, and then you are going to go into Summit, and you are going to do your first checkpoint.